In this video, I will show you how to find minimum element in the given array and also finding maximum element in the given array. So I will open the tool to type the program. Before typing, just I will show you a document. Just you see. So this is an array of 5 elements. The number of elements are 5. The first element is value is 570. Next element is 25. Next one is 37. Next is 45, and last one is 11. And first element is located at index 0, and the last element is located at n minus 1. N is our array size or length of the array. So that number minus 1 results the last index position. So last element is located at index 4. So now our task is finding minimum and maximum. Minimum and maximum. So minimum, if I want to find out the minimum number, so what is the logic here I'm applying? First, I don't know which elements are going to be entered by the user. So what I am doing, I will assume that the first number itself is my minimum number, even the first number itself is my maximum number. But here our focus is on minimum number. First we will start with the minimum number. So I will assume that my first number 70. So this number itself is a minimum number. That is my assumption. Now, what is the logic I am applying? I will compare this number with the all other numbers in the input array. So this number is compared with 25, 70 is compared with 25. Now tell me, if I assume that 70 is the minimum number, then when I'm comparing 70 and 25, I came to know that 25 is minimum. Then what I will do, I will change my opinion. So how that means previously my minimum is a of 0, but now I came to know that my minimum is a of 1. Assume that a is our input array. Our input array name is a. So a of 0 is 71, 70. A of 1 is 25. Initially I assume that minimum is a of 0. Now I am comparing my first element with the rest of the elements. So I will start, my first element is compared with the second element. Then I came to know that 25 is minimum. So now I changed it, minimum is equals to a of 1. Now whatever the latest minimum number I got it, that number again compared with the rest of the numbers. Now 25 is compared with 37. Yes, 25 is less than. There is no change in the opinion. Now again 25 is compared with 45. Yes, 25 is compared with 45. 25 is lesser only. Now again 25 is compared with 11. Then came to know that 25 is not minimum, 11 is the minimum. So then my final minimum element is 11. My final minimum element is 11. So like this we can compare the array elements. Our assumed array minimum element is compared with the rest of the elements. Then finally we can obtain the final minimum element in the given input array. So the same logic we will apply for the maximum element. So how we are doing? So in case of maximum element, initially we assume that 70 is our maximum element. This 70 is compared with 25. What is happening? Yes, 70 is, when comparing 70 and 25, 70 is maximum. Now there is no change in our opinion. Now 70 is compared with 37. Yes, still 70 is the maximum. Now 70 is compared with 45. Still 70 is the maximum, so no need to change. Now 70 is compared with 11. Yes, still 70 is the maximum, so we are declare that 70 is the maximum number. 70 is the maximum number. So like this, we can find the minimum and maximum elements of given input array. So we will start coding. Create a new source file. Include the required library files. A standard input output header file. Then start main function. That is the origin point of execution flow of our C program. And here we need an input array. So I assume that the array is A, and I given that some size, some random size 20, and after that I need to find out the minimum element. So I will declare one element minimum. I will declare one more variable that is called maximum, and I need a loop control variable that is called I, and I want to collect the size of the array that is called size. So first we will ask the user to enter the size of the array. So enter the size of the array. After entering the size of the array, we displaying the message, we will scan that input. As it is an integer, use format specifier %LD and ampersand and so here that is size. I named the variable as size, so we need to hold the value in size. Then using for loop, we will start collecting the values from the user. So our loop starts from I less than or equals to up to the last index. Last index is nothing but size of the array minus 1, size of the array minus 1, and each time the loop control variable jumps by 1, iterates by 1. Now using scanf function, we will try to read the values. Ampersand. This time we are trying to read the array inputs. So a of I. When a of I is 0, I is 0, it reads the first element. When I is equals to 1, it reads the second element. When I is equals to size minus 1, it reads the last element in the array. After once our input is ready, then we start our logic. As I told you that we need to assume minimum is and as well as maximum is also, we assume that the first element itself. How can we represent the first element? By using the index value 0. So initially I assume that my first element itself is the my minimum element and my maximum element. Now, so we need to iterate the loop beginning from the starting index up to the last index. Last index is located size minus 1. Size is means number of elements in the array. Now, so here we need to compare my minimum element with all other elements. All other elements. See here, we need not compare the index 0 element with the index 0. So I will change it to 1. So why I change it to 1? If I want to compare a number or minimum number or maximum number, I reserved the first element because that I assumed as minimum element as well as the maximum element. So I will compare with the rest of the elements. So from mid index onwards, I need to compare from the beginning, first index onwards, first index, second index up to the last index, that is size minus 1. Now, if my minimum, if I assume that something is minimum, but I came to know that something is lesser than that element, lesser than that element, then I need to change my opinion. Then I need to change my opinion. Minimum is equals to a of I. Whatever the latest I value, index value that is located a of I, that becomes the latest minimum element. So initially I thought that this something is minimum, but came to know that something that is a of I, that is lesser than my assumed minimum element, then this becomes the my latest minimum. How can this? So this value is assigned to my minimum variable. Similarly, in the same for loop, I need to compare my maximum element. If something, yeah, sorry, here it is greater than. Why? Because if my minimum element is greater than some other element, then this becomes minimum. Now, next case, if my maximum element is lesser than some other element, lesser than some other element, then my latest max is the latest iterated value, that is a of I. So it's very simple, don't confuse. I assume something is minimum. I am comparing with all other elements. Why? Because initially it is 1, 2, 3. After the sum iteration, it is size minus 1. That means I am comparing my first element, index 0 means my first element, compared with all the rest of the elements. All rest means 1 to up to size minus 1. When I am comparing, if this condition is satisfied means what it is indicating, that some element is found lesser than this, then this becomes the minimum. This means this value we have to assign it for minimum. Similarly, coming to the maximum, if you found some other number greater than this means this becomes the lesser than that element, then we will assign this, we will declare this as the latest maximum element in that particular iteration. Like that, we need to iterate beginning from 1 to up to the last index, that is size minus 1. After come out of the loop, then we can declare that maximum element in the given array, maximum element in the given array. So what is our maximum element? Max. That is actual percentility here. Max is a variable of integer type, so that is a percentility separated with comma. Here we need to display the variable name. That is one thing. Similarly, the same statement just I am copying and I will paste it, and I will change the description message. Minimum element. Minimum. Minimum element in the given array is min. Min. So min max demo1.c. I given the file name as minmax demo1.c to find in the minimum element and maximum element in the given array. So compile this program for checking syntax errors. See, so there are no errors here. Errors are 0, warnings also 0. Now we can start running our program. So enter the size of the array. Just I will reduce the font size. So enter the size of the array. So size of the array, suppose I entered 5 elements. Like this I am entering some values. Then what is my minimum element, maximum element? This is my input data set. Then my input array values. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. As I started, the numbers are arranged in the increment order. You can easily find out that 12 is my minimum element and 16 is my maximum element. And one more. So here, actually, after entering the size, the cursor is blinking, but the user doesn't know that why it is blinking. So we need to provide one more message. Enter enter size number of values. Size is an integer, so personally number of elements, and this personality is referring size. Otherwise, the end user doesn't understand that why the cursor is blinking even though after entering the size of the array. So once we made any changes, compile the program, save it and compile, then run the program. So size of the array, suppose it is 5. Now see, previously we didn't get this message. Now I entered here, I placed this statement in the program. So after entering the size of the array, then it will instruct the user, please enter 5 numbers of the elements. 5 elements. Suppose 23, 11, 45, 67, 32 something. So can you guess which one is minimum? So we can easily say that 11 is our minimum number and 67 is our maximum number. So we are supposed to get 11 and 67. So first we are displaying the maximum number, I think. 67 is going to print. Then after that 11 is print. So 67 is printed first because we are displaying the maximum element first. Then we are displaying the minimum element next. So like this we can print the we can find out the minimum element in the input array and maximum element in the input array. So very simple, the logic is just we assume that the first number itself is our minimum number, the first number itself is our maximum number, and the first number is compared with all other numbers. If our assumption is wrong, then immediately we are changing our opinion by assigning the latest minimum value to our minimum variable. Similarly, latest maximum value to our maximum variable. So like this, we can find the minimum element and maximum element of the array.